Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Off Camber podcast, episode 12. This is the Bahrain review, and what a fucking race it was, mate.
Awesome.
What an absolute banger. We've got heaps to talk about today. This is morning of, so initial reactions, Manol. You woke up early to watch this one?
Yeah, set my alarm for 3 in the morning. Woke up. The moment I put the race on, it was Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly basically crashing into each other.
Yeah.
So that was. I thought we were in for a hell of a race the moment that happened.
True. Yeah, 100%. It was a bit disappointing to see, though, because, obviously, Tsunoda, who was, I don't know, with that crash, it was sort of like there wasn't enough space for them. That, like, you get the feeling Tsunoda probably would have been better off to just back out, maybe.
Yeah, but again, it's really hard to tell, especially because it happened so quick, and from that angle, it looked like there was space, and maybe Pierre Gasly veered a little.
But Tsunoda, but I feel like if Tsunoda got turned into the corner more on the exit, then he would have got out of it. But then again, first lap, it's impossible to tell.
I feel like he should have backed up, but there wasn't space. But someone that should have backed up and didn't was Max on turn 1.
Yes, and that is the big talking point for everyone after this one, especially as it was unfolding. Mm-hmm. And we've got a lot to say about that, I reckon. Do you run through your? So let's go through. So Verstappen doesn't get away as well as he should have, I suppose. Everyone on that right side, so that right side that Verstappen was on was the cleaner side of the track, right? Everyone on that right side got away better, except for Verstappen. Mm-hmm. Piastri got away excellent, and he took the inside line, got alongside Verstappen. Piastri and Verstappen run wide, Verstappen going off the track through turn 2, taking the lead of the race and not deciding, or the Red Bull team not deciding to give the position back. And obviously he was handed a penalty. So what's your take on that one?
I think Oscar Piastri summed it up really well at the end of the race. He said, once I had the inside line, there was no way that I was going to give it up. And honestly, from every replay, you could see that Oscar was well and truly ahead of Max in that instance. Max should have just braked and given it up, because then what ended up happening was obviously you're given a 5-second penalty from the stewards. Yep. And instead of giving up the place, you try and make up a 5-second gap before you pit.
Yes. Yep.
Which I think ended up burning him really badly.
Yeah.
Because then you're pretty much gambling on if Oscar's going to have a bad race or not.
Yes. And some would say, though, that he finished 2.6 seconds behind, but it's hard. I mean, that's the decision they went down, but this is sort of like what I think is wrong with F1 at the moment, right? So essentially we see this happen all the time. We've seen it happen a lot through 2021. We've seen it happen at Austria last year. We've seen it happen at Coda last year as well. So this is the same scenario when Norris passed Verstappen off the track. Yeah. He got a 5-second penalty. Sort of a similar scenario, right? But what we've got happening is drivers where the rules are saying first to the apex wins the corner, right? Apex, and the apex being that middle point of the corner. And then it causes this issue where you've got a situation like this into turn 1 where essentially Piastri and Verstappen, instead of racing and showing good racecraft and giving each other space, right? They're both just, okay, I know that Verstappen's going to try and get to the corner first, so I got to get to the corner first. So then you get these guys, they're braking 30 meters later, both running wide, and then it forces the stewards to get involved and make a decision on the race, which ultimately we probably don't want, because we'd rather it be battled out on the track.
Exactly.
And then what's happened is Piastri obviously knows that Verstappen's going to do that, so as the rules say, it's Piastri's corner, so Piastri can run him wide, essentially, and take the corner. And that's what he did, which is fine from Piastri's point of view. But it's also wrong that he should, in my perspective of motorsport, you should give the other driver room on the outside. Like, we just know that, Piastri's got the corner, now he can run him wide. But what about, forget getting to the apex first. Let's put that aside, right? How about you guys just race into the corner, give each other room and see who comes out on top. Like, obviously, if you run someone off in then that scenario, then you can give a penalty. But in my opinion, if Piastri and Verstappen race without worrying about that apex, getting to the apex, claiming the corner, if they just race, I mean, Piastri's still got the inside. He's still probably going to take the corner.
Yeah.
So why are we so obsessed about this? Whose corner it is? Who's got the right to essentially run someone off and then force the stewards to make a decision? How about we just go racing, mate?
Yeah, like you said, I think it's two things. It's definitely a rule problem because F1's all about bending the rule book. Every year it's always that. And right now it is, like you said, it's my corner. I'm going to stick to it. If you don't want to race with me, you can run wide, get your penalty, or give up a position.
Exactly. And that's what's always going to happen in top-level sport. We see it in every sport. Ball sports, whether it or motorsport, top-level athletes are going to find a way to bend the rules or use the rules in their advantage. Exactly. So that's just simply what's happening. And I thought the other thing I noticed was in the pen after the race when Verstappen was getting interviewed, which pissed me off, frankly. The reporter was just asking Verstappen about the penalty, nothing about his race. Nah. Verstappen clearly didn't want a bar of it. And she was like, oh, so how does this compare to Norris overtaking you in Circuit of the Americas? And then he's like, Verstappen was, different rules, whatnot, and stuff like that. And then she asked another question about it. Like, how about asking him about his pace or, asking him about his strategy or like anything? Like, come on.
Or the fact that he got a 5-second penalty and still finished P2.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the quality of the reporting in F1 has sort of gone down a little bit in terms of who they've got on trackside coverage.
Yeah, it's a controversial topic. 100%. But at the end of the day, we want to see good motorsport. We
want to see good racing.
So.
And we did get a good race.
Exactly, 100%.
P12, that's why I bought the hat back. I thought we were stuck at P17. He even beat Lance Stroll.
Yeah, he did. Stroll was getting down the back, getting in the way of Piastri at the end. There was a few lap markers, troubling Piastri at the end. So
Behrman, Stroll, and I think it was Bortoletto.
Yeah, and Hülkenberg as well. And that's sort of what closed that gap between Piastri and Verstappen in the end, which was lap markers getting in the way, essentially.
Because he was in clean air, and then all of a sudden he's got Lance Stroll's dirty air to worry about.
Exactly. Otherwise, Leclerc on the podium. Happy days for him. Norris couldn't catch him in the end. Norris did run a good race, though. I'll give him that. 10th. He made a huge cock up in quali. And he did a really good job, I think, to come back into that fourth position. He was close to Leclerc, but didn't obviously get there in the end.
I was going to ask you, do you reckon the pressure of having a teammate as good as Oscar is getting to him a little bit? Because he's making a couple of mistakes now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still feel like on merit Norris is the quicker driver, but geez, he is making it hard on himself, and there's no excuse now. That's the thing when you're at the top now. Yeah. There's no excuse for that.
Because this is season 8.
Exactly.
For Lando, this is season 3 for Oscar.
Exactly, and Oscar is a gun. Oscar is a gun.
F2 champ, F3 champ, soon to be F1 champ.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be bloody good. It'd be a huge party down here. That's for sure, mate. 100%. That's for sure.
It's been a while since we had an Australian.
Exactly.
The WBC.
Another winner, Williams, both in the points. Yeah. Double points finish for Williams. That was a good result for them. Sainz had good pace, and in the end, they were trying to hold off from Hajar, who also ran an excellent race.
Amazing race.
Yeah, he was very good.
Considering where Lawson finished, Hajar had an amazing race.
Exactly. And they were trying to protect Albon from Hajar in the end by trying to give him DRS from Sainz.
Yeah.
Yes, which was, I guess, worked. I think he was still fairly safe. It proved to be pretty hard to pass still, which was annoying, I guess, but didn't really impact the quality of the race, which was really good.
I mean, honestly, if you're Williams, if you get any points out of any race, I think you're happy as hell, considering where you were last season. And they've already scored more points than they have in the last 3 seasons combined, almost.
Exactly. So they needed a result that was in the points, and they've delivered that. So 100%. So very good there. We'll move on to our predictions now. I want to go through mine first.
Go for it.
So, Norris to pole, Norris to win.
Yeah.
Bit of a run wide, we'll say,
Mhm.
the least. It was definitely a major L for me there. Verstappen class drive, I'd say yes.
Yeah. I'd give you that.
But if you look at it, on paper, probably not, because he started pole, finished second. He dropped a position, but with a bit of context, the eye test shows that he did run a good race. I mean, his pace was good, and he was definitely threatening Piastri. So that is a good thing for them, I guess. But I feel like how I said that McLaren and Red Bull, it's going to suit Red Bull like Suzuka. I think that was came to be true.
Yeah.
Verstappen definitely was the pace setter. He got the pole. He did the lap. And that style of track, I think, is going to suit them throughout the year and continue to suit them throughout the year. So that's probably going to be Coda as well. I'd say will be another good one. So those fast pace,
the speed circuits.
Yes, fast pace with quick corners is going to help benefit them, I guess. Run wide was Kimi. Probably not for me there. Kimi did run a solid race.
He had a good race. P8, P9.
No, sorry. Let's have a look here.
Actually, I'd like to see where Kimi is.
Kimi P6. Yeah,
Never mind.
Yeah. He did end up behind Russell. George Russell fell off in the end, big time there as well. I noticed
He did.
but Kimi, solid, I guess. He didn't have the best start to the weekend, but he picked up and in the end got a 6th. Although, I wonder where Tsunoda would have finished though. That was the only other thing I was sort of like, I wanted to see. Because this was a car that suited Saudi better than before.
Well.
So how would have Tsunoda done without
the crash?
Without the crash. That would have been interesting to see because Verstappen was up there with pace. So where would have Tsunoda been, I guess?
I reckon, he'd have to have been in the top 10. I reckon, Isaac Hadjar gets knocked down to P11, maybe Tsunoda P10. I'm thinking at least, especially because what you said, Max Verstappen ends up on a podium. You're happy if he's P6 to P10 somewhere.
Yeah, surely he's a points finish.
He'd have to be. He's in a Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. So, because what did he start? He started
Where was
8th.
He was
yeah.
P8.
So, also feel bad for Gasly because he had really good pace throughout the weekend.
Yeah, FP2 I think fastest.
He smashed doing this weekend, and it sucks for him that he ended up winning it on the first lap.
Couldn't get to show it. I reckon.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he ends up top 5, top 10?
Nah,
This race?
I'd say 10,
Top
which
10.
denies Williams a double points finish.
Mhm.
Sainz probably still sneaks in the points because he started strong. So, with Tsunoda and Gasly there, Albon and Hadjar probably don't score points. Then I'd say Tsunoda and Gasly do. But that's how the cookie crumbles, mate. That's how she rolls. Let's go through yours.
All right.
So you had for pole. Who did you have for pole?
I had Piastri pole, Piastri to win.
Yep.
Almost had pole before Max Verstappen had the best qualifying lap in human history.
Yes,
And
Piastri
beat
to
him
pole was close, but the dub, I'll give you that.
Yeah, he beat him by 0.001 seconds. So
It's been so tight this year.
It's incredibly tight. Piastri to win.
Very good.
I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
Who did I have for class drive? I had Hamilton for class
Hamilton
drive.
for class.
Which I don't know if I can give Hamilton the class drive. He had a really good defensive driving stint, trying to hold off Norris.
Yes. Yeah, he did.
But
he did well as well. He held him up for a few laps because he was getting him on that DRS.
He did. They were sort of battling for the DRS zones, but then in the end, Norris came up behind him on the DRS and took him over.
Exactly.
Which he literally used Lewis's trick against him.
Yes. But they have moved that DRS zone. So it used to be before the last corner, the detection point, which would have worked in Norris's favour.
Yeah.
But they moved it now. I can't remember if it was like this last year or not, but now it's after the last corner. So Norris was passing him before the last corner. Then Lewis essentially was getting that DRS out of the last corner onto the main straight to easily, he was past him before the T1.
Yeah.
He was already past him. So Norris had to sort of work that one out, which he did well. So I'll pay that. I'll pay that. But and who was your run wide?
Run wide was Alonso, which he had a P12 finish. Considering
He's gone for his own man for run wide.
P17, P18,
Yeah.
P12. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I might have to start, praying on someone else's downfall. This is not working.
Yeah,
might have to go to Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
He had an absolute stinker, which is again that's never changing. I did hear news out of Aston though that new ownership is going to have more of a say on the driver lineup. Which please God, please.
Who do you know who the owner?
I don't know exactly who the company is or like the group that is buying out the portion of Aston, but they did mention that new ownership wants more of a say on the driver lineup, which is good.
Which is good.
Way to change
because also they've got the partnership with Honda coming up, which is going to be starting next year. So how does that?
You got Newey's wind tunnel being built. You got the Honda partnership.
Newey's wind tunnel.
You got new ownership. I'm excited for the future of this team.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're just going to sandbag the rest of the season. I don't know if we ever see a points finish.
Yes.
This season.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No. So also apparently from Ishane, the scoop, Alonso even after retirement is going to be staying with Aston. So he will be doing, a consulting role. Yes, after his driving career.
You know who I'd love to see race for the green though? One day, I think, and it might happen. Max Verstappen.
Really?
Dark Adrian Newey car, Honda power unit, right? UK based team.
But like,
if they can,
how would that work? Who?
Because this is my take, right? Mercedes don't want to mess up what they've got right now with Russell and Kimi. And if Toto wants to go the route of, okay, you know what? We'll give Max the number one driver's seat. Sure. Yeah. Like, I have no problems with that. But apart from that, he's not going to go to Ferrari because they've just mortgaged their entire future on this Lewis Hamilton experiment. Yep. Right? And the only other, big team, if you can call it that, you got Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren. McLaren's not going to give up Lando Norris. Yeah, of course. You don't see that happening at all.
No, I don't think even Verstappen would entertain that.
If the Red Bull issues persist, and there's a bit of hot water there, I don't be surprised if you see Max Verstappen in green very soon. That's all I'm saying.
Oh shit! Okay, huge take there. Huge take. We love that. But yeah, otherwise the race. Back to the race. It was pretty green. Like the rest of the race was green flags. Pit stops. Piastri did have a bit of a slow stop on his. It was like 3.4 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a high 3-second pit stop.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure whether that, changes the gap, because it was weird though. I thought how Verstappen pitted later, because it just allowed the undercut completely for Piastri to get out on those fresh hards and sort of make up that time.
I think they were trying to dummy pit to see when Verstappen would pit, and so they were sort of battling out to see who would pit first.
And it's always good to see that little like strategy gamesmanship, from the F1 teams, because they always love to do a little dummy box, which is good to see, because keeps us on our toes as well, because we obviously don't really know what's going on. So we love the dummy boxes that they produce for us.
Keeps it fresh. I think best pit I saw this race was Ferrari with Charles Leclerc. That was a 2-second pit stop.
Yes, that was very good.
In and out.
Good to see Ferrari getting on top of their strategy.
Yeah, their car might be slow, but at least their pit crew's still in shape.
Yes. And then the only other thing I noticed was the restart, the initial restart, the first restart. I don't know. I can't remember how many laps they were under safety car for, but Verstappen backed them right up and then went, and it almost actually cost Piastri a position, because Piastri anticipated him to go on the exit of the last corner, but he didn't. He waited like half a second and then went, and Piastri had sort of come off the throttle by then, so he couldn't get back on quick enough.
He was almost neck and neck with George
And
Russell.
he had George Russell coming up the outside, and that would have been crucial for Verstappen. I mean, I'd say if Verstappen...
That was smart by him.
Oh, I mean, but that's the thing with Verstappen, right? He's got so much experience now with being up the front. Yeah. It will not phase him one bit, and that's what's going to help him throughout this year, is like he can just go get points because he knows how to do every situation at the front. Exactly. Restarts, maybe giving up position or taking a position at a certain time. He knows exactly how to do those things.
I think that's what's hurting Lewis a lot as well. he's so used to racing in clean air.
Spin your mic. Yeah.
He's so used to racing in clean air.
Yeah.
That now racing in this dirty air for him, he's a bit like, oh.
Yeah.
It's unfamiliar territory for him.
Yeah. 100%. And we're seeing how much dirty air is impacting the cars. Like, it's a lot, especially on these faster paced circuits.
Oh, for sure.
It's really impacting the cars. But yeah, so that was a very interesting race. It was a good, hour and a half. It was a good. Though in Australia now, we're struggling with the time zone because today was at 3 a.m. Qualifying was at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I actually got up this morning at 8:30 and rewatched it, not live.
Yeah.
I've got to try and hide the results and then like stream it without like finding out. Like my brother texted me an image of the Piastri crossing the finish line, but like I saw his text, but I knew not to open it because I was like, yeah, well, obviously that's a fucking spoiler.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I thought it'd be like Ashton Hall waking up at 3 a.m. to watch this one. I can't lie.
just dipping your face in the ice.
I don't have the shower token next to my bed.
100%, mate. So yeah, but it's gonna get interesting with the times. Next up, we've got Miami. We've got a week break though.
Yeah.
So there will be an episode in between now and then, which will be a little bit different. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Can I just say the Miami race? It doesn't even feel like a Grand Prix. I'll be honest. That is it is my least favorite race.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be very. We're hanging shit on it. But that's an episode for another day.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about quickly about the race or the weekend as a whole?
I think this race proved why cars need to be smaller.
Yeah.
In F1, we need to really get back to that smaller package.
Yeah.
Because you can't go racing.
Yeah.
Like you're maxing out maybe at 2 cars parallel.
Yeah.
Going into some of these corners, and it's not racing anymore. It's literally just cars following each other single file. It's like Scar Electrics.
100%. And I think though that as well, to add to that quickly, that T1 incident, a small car will help with that as well.
Oh, 100%.
Because you obviously
so
just
much
got
more
more space
on the track.
So, but yeah, that's sort of all I've got. Anything else you want to mention before the weekend?
I think Ferrari. They had a podium.
Yeah.
Right in this race. Do you reckon they continue to invest money into
this year,
competitive this year, or you reckon they just pack it up and hope for next year?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. It's a balance between every team whether they invest. I mean, Ferrari, I think they just continue with what they're doing, and whether that's putting money into next year's car, putting money into this year's car, I don't know. But I don't think they change based on what's the results. Giving them.
Because my thing is, right, they spent so much money on Lewis.
Yep.
Right? They've got Charles Leclerc now. Do you reckon they keep investing into trying to win this year?
No. I don't think so.
Exactly.
I don't think so. I don't think most teams will try to, other than McLaren, to try and get a championship, or Red Bull to try and get another championship. Are going to be trying to put extra money on top of what they would have planned to try and climb the order, essentially. Yeah. So I don't think it's worth it for them anyway, because there's more of a gain to be had next year.
100%
with new regs.
Regulations.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. But, anything else you got to add?
One last question. You reckon we start having a counter for every time Max is asked about his future at Red Bull?
Yeah. Dead set, man. Dead set. Reporting, ask more about the bloody racing is my take on that. Ask about the racing, because that's what we're watching. That's what the fans want to see. I know the drama's exciting and all, but bloody hell, we're watching some good racing, and this is a great year, so we got to soak it up.
Yeah, it feels like NBA free agency almost.
Yeah,
about it.
You're like,
but where are you racing next year?
Yeah,
it's like it's race 4 in the calendar.
Yeah, exactly. There's another 20 races to go. Simmer down. But that's all we've got for today, guys. Make sure you let us know your takes in the comments. Have a good discussion. We'll always have a good discussion. So, yeah, let us know what your take was on the weekend. Rating out of 10, finally. I reckon a good 8 for me. Another 8.
Yeah, I reckon this is a solid 8 for me.
100%. So, let us know your rating out of 10.
Wish it was earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And, we'll enjoy the week off, and we'll see you next week for the in-between episode.
Miami preview.
100%. All right. Have a good break, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.